Hello and thanks for joining us on NTA International News. I am Charles Alpha. My sign language interpreter is Precious Zomina. Please, we'll take, at this point we will now take the major headlines of the news. Military junta in Mali postpones election while Egypt announces December for its election. Aftermath of the Libyan flood, authorities ordered the arrest of 8 officers. And the federal government unveils activities lined up for Nigeria's 63rd anniversary. Our government is anchoring reasons for this year's celebration on the commitment of the Nigerian people to achieve uninterrupted democratic rule since 1999. The World Conference to mark the 63rd independence anniversary of Nigeria, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, reaffirmed the resolve of President Bola Tinubu's late administration to deliver good governance. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The World Press Conference is scheduled to herald other activities lined up for the 63rd independence anniversary of Nigeria. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, explains that Nigeria has every reason to celebrate but will be on a low key, pointing to the socio-economic challenges as part of reasons.
We are doing this celebration conscious of the fact that we are 63 years, but also, more importantly, conscious of the fact that economic times are hard.
Meanwhile, the SGF enumerated several steps being taken by the federal government to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy removal, including engagements with the organized labor unions.
At the same time, the government is engaging with labor in order to address areas of concern for the well-being of all Nigerian workers and Nigerians generally.
Answering questions from journalists, the SGF also put in perspective some of the urgent measures already taken by the federal government to provide palliatives to the Nigerian people, to include 5 billion naira disbursed to the state governments, distribution of grains, arrangements to procure electric vehicles and other projects captured in the supplementary budget.
We have repeatedly said that the fuel subsidy regime was a scam, but the courage to confront it was always lacking until this government came to power. Some of these things will be well encapsulated in the report that Nigerians will soon see.
The SGF also pointed to several economic policies by the federal government to revamp the economy and the desire by President Tinubu to woo investors into the country.
In totality, this is going to improve our economy and to create prosperity for all of us. Even the issue of students' loan is a policy to be applauded. Students will have access to loan. And when we hear that school fees is increased in universities, government universities, we say that is not true. Because the president said no, there was no increase and no public institution should increase school fees.
The event brought together media executives and other Nigerians from all walks of life. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Now, gearing towards Nigeria's 63rd independence anniversary on October 1, the need to project Nigeria and other African countries towards being the hub of social, economic and technological advancement of the world has been stressed. Francis Udojo reports that the advocacy was made by the PanAfrican Club through students from different secondary schools in Abuja.
Since Nigeria's independence on the 1st of October 1960, the quest to improve the lives of its people and other African nations in the socio-economic and technological world has been one of the goals of every Nigerian leader at every independence anniversaries. Ridding Nigeria and other African countries of its numerous challenges including corruption, oppression, and underdevelopment to achieve the African objectives is now on the front burner. The gathering of these students from various secondary schools in the FCT by the Pan-African Club with the African Vision 525 initiative is not for fun, but a simulation of the African Union Assembly towards making the dreams of the African nations are reality.
Like Charles Babbage, who invented the computer. As a youth, I must not only be a user. Though roadblocks and challenges may assail me, I will impact the 21st century.
The dreams for a better and brighter future were replicated in songs, poems, inspirational words, and the representation of African leaders at the event to mark Nigeria's independence.
Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, the government of Nigeria is a blessed country with abundance of mineral and natural resources.
Your Excellencies, as a revolutionary, I speak for the citizens of Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, patriots who love their nation.
Moving the world towards ICT and entrepreneurship.
Oh, we ought to be dignified.
Point is, if you have a policy of, you say Nigeria wants to lead Africa, then the people who are going to run Nigeria's leadership program are people who should know about Africa from very early on.
They need to be able also to stand up as leaders and take certain decisions.
Guests at the yearly event bear their minds on the initiative.
So I like that they showcased what Africa is all about, and there's really no need. Let's stay back and, grow our continent.
Nigeria will overcome because with determination.
I have seen a woman president emerging from this kind of congregation.
Nigerian curriculum must change. We must get to a point where we begin to think of creative learning or creative teaching.
The Pan-African Club initiative first came to limelight at the Abuja in 1979 and first initiated in Abuja in 2004 to prepare young minds towards making Nigeria a modern nation to all. In Abuja, Francis Sudojo, NTA News.
As Nigeria builds up to 63rd anniversary, Mali's ruling junta on Monday announced it will delay a presidential election scheduled for February that was aimed at returning civilian leaders to power in jihadist hit West African nation. A government spokesperson, Abdoulaye Mega, told reporters that the two rounds initially set for February 4 and 18, 2024 will be slightly postponed for technical reasons. The junta's statement said the decision to delay the vote meant to return Mali to constitutional rule after military coups in August 2020 and May 2021 was due to several factors, including a dispute with a French firm over a civil registry database issues linked to the adoption this year of a new constitution and a review of the electoral list. Mega said the new dates for the presidential election will be communicated later. And now in Egypt, Egypt will hold a presidential vote on December 10 and 12. The elections authority said on Monday, with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi widely expected to win a re-election despite an economic crisis, including record inflation and chronic foreign currency shortages. Sisi, 68, can stand on a third term due to constitutional amendments in 2019 that also extended the length of presidential term to 6 years from 4, opening the way for him to stay in office until at least 2030. Election results are expected to be announced on December 23, and in the event of a runoff round, final results should be announced on January 16 at least, the election authority said. And now to France, where President Emmanuel Macron said on Sunday that the French ambassador to Niger, alongside several other diplomats, will return to France, signaling an end to diplomacy ties and occupation. Kalo Mohammed tells us more.
Macron's announcement comes 2 months after a coup in the West African country that ousted the pro-Paris president. Macron told French television in an interview, without giving details over how this would be organized, that France has decided to withdraw its ambassador. All he said was, in the next hours, our ambassador and several diplomats will return to France. Macron added that military cooperation was over and French troops would withdraw in the months and weeks to come, with a full pullout by the end of the year. Niger's military rulers responded swiftly in a statement read out on national television. The statement from the military rulers who seized power by overthrowing President Mohamed Bazoum on July 26 said, "We celebrate a new step towards the sovereignty of Niger." In the meantime, residents of Niamey share their thoughts on the departure of French soldiers and the French ambassador from Niger, announced the day before. In their words, the French soldiers must leave immediately because we really don't need them, says Mazok Dola, a resident of Niamey.
The French military must leave immediately because we really don't need them. We don't need them. They have been saying they do help us for decades, but we haven't seen any change, so we don't want their help. We really want them to leave our country and go home because we are going to stay here. I am speaking on behalf of all the people of Niger. We are very proud of the departure of the French army and its ambassador because they have provided nothing here in Niger. They have provided nothing to Niger. They came to at least eradicate terrorism, and terrorism is only getting worse. I am very, 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 very happy. Very happy too, really. All the French have to do is leave. That's fine, thank you. All they have to do is keep everything they have, but we have nothing to do with them again. Thank you, and I don't want the Nigerian military to sign a contract with them or negotiate anything.
At the end of an unattainable 2-month standoff with the military regime, President Emmanuel Macron finally gave in, announcing the return of the ambassador to Paris and the withdrawal of the 1,500 troops by the end of the year. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The report was filed in by Justin Bemunyi and not Kolo Mohammed, as earlier announced. Now, moving forward, Rafael Grossi has been reappointed as Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency for a new 4-year term. Chukwunonso Nwabezi has details of that report.
During the 67th General Conference of the IAEA in Vienna, Rafael Grossi swore to exercise in all loyalty, expression and conscience functions entrusted on him as Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. He equally pledged to discharge the functions and to regulate his conduct with the interest of the agency only in view and not to seek or accept instructions in regard to the performance of his duties from any government or other authority external to the agency.
Madam President, in relation to the IAEA verification activities in the Islamic Republic of Iran, during my tenure, I have continued to report to the Board of Governors on both Iran's NPT safeguards agreement and verification and monitoring undertaken in the light of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 2231. With regard to the NPT safeguards agreements, I must reiterate that significant safeguards issues remain outstanding after a number of years. I also cannot but recognize that implementation the activities set out in the most recent joint statement between myself and Iran in March this year have not made the progress I was hoping for.
The final decision is contingent upon the endorsement of the IAEA's General Conference, an annual assembly of all member states convened in the autumn. The International Atomic Energy Agency was created in 1957 in response to the deep fears and expectations generated by the discoveries and diverse uses of nuclear technology. It has 177 members, including Nigeria, with its headquarters in Vienna, Austria. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
And back in Africa, Libya's Prosecutor General has ordered the arrest of 8 officials as part of inquiry into the recent flood disaster which killed thousands in that country. The flash flood, which witness likened to a tsunami, broke through 2 aging dams on the 10th of September after a hurricane-strength storm lashed the area around Derna, a port city in Libya's east. The officials are suspected to suspected of bad management and negligence. A statement from the Prosecutor General's officials said that they served currently or previously the offices responsible for water resources and dam management. On Saturday, the official death toll passed 3,800, and international aid groups have said 10,000 or more people may be missing. And in Sierra Leone, a new drug epidemic is spreading among youth in Sierra Leone as increasing numbers fall victims to a synthetic substance known as Kush. The country's National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has said the drug uses chemical compounds to mimic the cannabinoid THC, which is found in marijuana. But it is associated with much greater health hazards, and its widespread availability has raised alarms among authorities and communities alike. Over now to Justin Ben for more of that report.
Kush, described by users as a ticket to Cloud9, has even led to fatalities in some cases. Despite governmental efforts to combat the drug's proliferation, numerous users smoke the drug frequently in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown.
I'm fully supportive of the initiative to stop the use of Kush in our country. However, I smoke Kush because it helps ease my stress.
Some believe that youth unemployment in the country has left many vulnerable to substance abuse.
In my view, there should be employment opportunities for young people, regardless of their qualifications. This will help alleviate the situation because one cannot leave a place where they earn income to engage in smoking Kush.
Beyond the hazards of smoking the drug, users face societal discrimination and even physical violence.
Sometimes, when we loiter at people's houses, sleeping and nodding, they resort to beating us after having chased us away for a while. This leads to some users to nod off in the streets in an attempt to relieve stress after smoking.
Sahid Bangura, executive director of an organization called Creating Opportunities for Disadvantaged Persons, has been rallying communities to better understand how to combat the epidemic, but he stressed that it is an uphill battle.
Many Sierra Leoneans don't understand that addiction is an illness. In some points, we've been hearing stories of people who beat addicts in various communities. They name and shame them. The stigma is getting high in various communities. We've engaged religious leaders, interfaith conference, wherein we encourage religious communities to come together for them to know that when one has an addiction, it's an illness.
Sierra Leone Psychiatric Hospital, which treats patients with mental health issues often linked to substance abuse, has been overwhelmed by the surge in Kush addiction. The hospital's resident psychiatrist, Dr. Jusu Matia, revealed that Kush addiction can set in staggeringly quickly.
We have seen people becoming addicted to Kush by single use of the drug, which is usually not common with other substances of abuse. You actually have to be using the substance for a considerable period of time before you get addicted to it.
The medical professional estimated that the majority of Kush users are aged between 16 and 30, with men being the predominant users. He stressed that as Sierra Leone continues to battle the Kush epidemic, the urgency for effective solutions grows. Justin Bem-Unyi, NTA News.
You're still watching the news on NTA International. Stay with us for more reports. Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, religion, and other affiliations, must live in peace with each other for the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. The plea was made by the May Peace Prevail on Earth International in line with the United Nations International Day of Peace. They advocated tolerance, endurance, and mutual understanding among Nigerians. And key players want proactive actions in protecting human rights and dignity of every individual.
In the world and Nigeria, through justice, through love, through forgiveness, through equity. We should stop segregation. We should stop war. We should stop insurgency. We should stop kidnapping. We should think peace. We should love one another.
The world is a stage, and each of us is an actor. So if we play our place and play our role honorably and distinctively, we'll have peace.
If I treat Mr. A the way I would want to be treated, definitely, and I see them the way I see myself, I don't think I will violate any rights.
Actions for peace or ambition for the global goals is the focus of this year's global celebration. And still on legal matters, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, says to promote speedy dispensation of justice in the country, the judiciary must streamline and simplify court processes, invest in technology, as well as develop the capacity of judicial officers to handle cases efficiently and effectively. Justice Ariwola stated this in Abuja at the opening of the 2023 roundtable for heads of courts across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Judiciary correspondent Chukwunonso Nwabueze reports.
Table, which is at the instance of the National Judicial Institute, provides a unique platform for heads of courts in Nigeria to brainstorm on not only issues bordering on adjudication, but also on administrative responsibilities for the effective administration of justice, as well as prudent management of the court's resources. The Chief Justice of Nigeria and Chairman Board of Governors of the Institute, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, in his opening remarks, stressed the importance of the independence of the judiciary in the pursuit and preservation of the rule of law.
Only an independent judiciary can safeguard the freedoms and rights of citizens, and of course ensure easy access to justice for all. I must remind us all that delay in adjudication of cases poses serious concern to the rule of law and the judiciary's reputation.
It is a bad thing, therefore, for heads of court to remain steadfast in their commitment to upholding the rule of law, thereby fostering public trust in the judiciary.
As advocates of justice, we must come to terms with the expectations of the general populace and international community in the discharge of our duties and preserve the image of the judiciary at all times.
The heads of courts in the next 3 days will be deliberating on repositioning the judiciary as the fulcrum of the rule of law. Chukwunonso Nwabueze, NTA News.
A section of the Supreme Court of Nigeria this morning was gutted to fire. Dennis Temple reports that no life was lost, but some documents were destroyed. The actual cause of the fire outbreak could not be ascertained, but the Director of Press and Information says it is not unconnected to the technical issues. The Justice Chambers is a critical component of the judiciary where information is stored for references. But the Director of Press maintains that the documents lost to the outbreak can be restored.
That were touched, they are replaceable, even also in hard copies as well. And we have an e-library in the Supreme Court. So the soft copy version, copies version is there also to back up whatever thing that is lost there.
The fire had long been put out by the combined efforts of personnel of the Federal Fire Service and other emergency responders.
So as you can see, all the extent of the damages, the computers, the tables, and the walls and the ceilings. So that's what just we were called by around 7:30 this morning. I learned that the fire started around 7. But they were able to reach onto us by running call.
Well, that is where we end the news. Thanks for watching. I am Charles Alpha, and Precious Ozomene has been interpreting for us.